understanding SEO basics. So I
Mhm.
want you to explain what is SEO and why is it important for the junk removal business?
So SEO is search engine optimization. It used to be considered to be like, marketers would present it to junk removal guys or any other kind of service-based businesses, kind of like this magic that they do in the background, and just pay us the money and trust us, it's going to work out. But essentially, what you're doing with search engine optimization is you are optimizing your website pages to rank for specific keywords. For us, we like to target long tail keywords, meaning, so what part of California do you service? Remind me.
North California, Sonoma County, Marin County.
Okay, so we would say something like, have you been looking for junk removal Sonoma County? And then we would target junk removal Sonoma County. We would build backlinks to that keyword. We would embed that keyword on your website and bold it. And what we're doing there is just telling Google, this is a keyword that this site wants to rank for. 3-4 years ago, you could build a lot of backlinks to a website, and Google would like that, and they would move that website up in the ranking. That is all changed. So what Google really prefers now is they like good structure and good user experience on your website. That's kind of their number one priority. So if they get to your website and it's a website that people can get to, that they can interact with, that there's good content and good clear pictures, Google will like that, and they'll prioritize your site for whatever keywords that you're wanting to rank for. You still need backlinks, and I'll explain to you what a backlink is in just a second. But instead of quantity that used to really work, Google only cares about the quality. So I see people talking about, well, you don't have a lot of backlinks, you're not going to rank. Well, that's not true. Google doesn't care about the quantity. They only care about the quality. The way you determine quality is something called domain authority, or a DA, or sometimes it's DA, sometimes it's DR, depending on the tool that you're looking at it with. So essentially, you couple really good on-page content with a lot of high-quality images, high-quality text, with off-page backlinking, and you get kind of this perfect formula to rank well. It takes time. Google only crawls and indexes the internet about every 30 to 45 days. It can, depending on the level of competition and keyword difficulty, it can take years to rank for certain keywords. Really populated markets, Atlanta, Chicago, New York, LA, it's going to take you 3 years to really rank well enough to drive in good revenue. But you can break out and get some of those smaller suburbs. So we'll use LA as an example. Think Anaheim, Irvine, Long Beach, and you can get some traffic on those within 6 months to a year and start really, paying off. So I say all of that to say this: SEO is not always the right fit, and it's not always the right time for SEO. I'm an SEO guy. I sell SEO. I want to work with people and help them with their SEO, but starting organically and growing yourself to around $12,000 to $15,000 a month in gross revenue is the way to go before you ever think about SEO. If you're at 6 to 10K a month, you still have some time to get yourself in a position where you can go, all right, now I'm going to take a portion of this and invest it into my SEO, so that in 6 months to a year, I'm reaping the benefits of that return. And so just want to make that clear too. I do think that I know SEO works. But that's all we do in our business outside of the on the ground marketing stuff. But it takes time, and it's not always the right move for people.
When you say organically, is that meaning like, yard signs and, door hangers and, word of mouth, like, going to the realtors and the property managers in your local area?
Yes. So I think that's the number one best form of marketing and junk removal. And I think, I talk with a lot of business owners and junk removal business owners. And the ones that are successful with us are the ones that are diligent in doing all of that. Because essentially, it's like this perfect marriage is how I describe it. I trust them to be on the ground marketing themselves, putting out door hangers on every job, putting out yard signs, going to B&I groups, building relationships with apartment complexes or commercial property groups or whatever the case might be. Like, they are out there grinding their asses off, and we are working on the online side, right? So both of those two things take time. Well, as they kind of come together, now all of a sudden this business begins to flourish. And that's why, like, for example, Brian, I was telling you earlier, he gave us time to really, so like, we really didn't start getting results till like the 8-9 month mark for this guy. And so I was like, internally, I'm like, dude, we got to start getting some results for this guy. But about that same time, he started really getting results from all the organic stuff. And then, around that 10, 11 month mark, he hit 50K and hasn't looked back. And it was kind of like this perfect marriage. And so that's the way SEO agencies should be looked at. If you're going to come into it and you're just going to hope that this SEO agency saves your business, you're going to hate them. You're going to hate the agency you're working with. You're going to be up their butts wondering why jobs aren't flowing in, 150 calls a month. And the reality is, it's probably because you're not doing anything on the back end. Now, if you're doing all this stuff on the back end and you're still not getting results, find a new agency. But that's just not going to happen. You know what I mean?
Where have you found the most success with growing organically? I'm hearing a lot like the yard signs is like the number one thing. What have you experienced for yourself?
So, it's tough to nail down any one thing. I would say one thing that we've seen really good success in. Well, there's two things that really stand out to me. One process that we have in our business is for every job that you're on, you put out 15 door hangers. So you would put out 5 left, 5 right, 5 across the street. Actually heard that on a podcast, and I think Bennett Grove, the guy who owns Fire Dogs Junk Removal, which is kind of a franchise, I think he was the one that mentioned that on this podcast. So anyway, we started implementing it. And so on the door hanger, you put some kind of offer like, hey, we serviced your neighbors, we'd love to serve you as well. And so these people feel like, oh, well, our neighbors use these guys, maybe we ought to give them the time of day. And then you also put like, call us, mention this door hanger, and receive 10% off your junk removal or demolition service. So those have been pretty effective. Now, their time, like a lot of people will take them and they'll throw them in the drawer and they'll call us later. But they've been pretty effective. The other thing, posting in Facebook groups organically. So I don't mean going listing your services on Marketplace. I mean going and joining community groups. So Sonoma County community Facebook page, just as an example. Like in Louisville, we've got like 30 different small communities, and they all have their own Facebook pages. And we actually have a spreadsheet process. It has the dates listed out that you're allowed to post. Like some will have like, Monday, you're a business, you can pop your business in the group. And so the operations manager goes through each week and he's posting in those groups every day. Typically, he'll roll through the list. Those two things alone, I mean, have been great. We probably make 10 grand a month off just doing those two things a month. So.
And have you ever worked with tracking numbers? So this way you could track where they're coming from and putting, I was just had Andrew Thompson from Jedi Junk. He was just on my channel. We did an interview. And, I'm in the middle of getting my my dump truck wrapped. And he was suggesting that I get its own number on the truck so I could track and see exactly how much is coming from just the logo, and then have a different number on the yard signs, have a different one on the door hangers. Have you had any experience with that?
So we've never done that inside of our business, but here's what I'll say. I think it's a mistake that we haven't. Something that we're actually pushing our customers toward is tracking numbers this kind of gets back into the SEO. I won't peel that onion back anymore, but it'll make my point here. One thing about SEO is it's not as easy to track data as it is with like a paid ad, right? Because when you have a Google ad, if you're doing it the right way, all of that traffic should be funneling to a landing page. And then you should be able to, you can tag ads and there's a lot of data at the ready. When it comes to SEO, there's not as much data because it's organic and there's just not a lot of tracking available outside of like Google Business Profile. They track your website clicks and your phone calls and stuff. So one way to curb that is getting a tracking number. And so you would have a tracking number on your Google Business Profile, on your website, so that as calls come in, you are able to see, okay, I know that this is the accurate number of calls I got from my website this previous month. Same thing with the wrap on the truck. So you could say, all right, well, I know that I got 3 calls off of the truck this month. I know that I got 10 calls off of yard signs or door hangers or whatever it might be. Some people are, and this is a trap I fell into. It's like a branding thing for me, so it's like, I know my brand. I want the phone number that's part of my brand to be the phone number that's front facing that everybody sees. Here's the deal, man. At the end of the day, people don't really care. They're going to call. If they need the service, they're going to call you. They're not concerned that your number looks cool. And so I think that advice Andrew gave you is wisdom, and it's really going to help you track where the calls are coming from.
Well, I'm glad you told me that because that's where I was at. I was like, I'm not really sure. On the truck, I kind of wanted it to be branded with my
Yeah,
logo and all that. But I'm glad you just cleared that up for me. And I'm definitely going to get on that tracking numbers. I think that's a good idea. And Kevin Hess says door hangers after a job is incredibly effective.
yeah,
Thank you,
yeah.
Kevin, for that. Appreciate that.